For dinner tonight, I'm going to make homemade Hamburger Helper, but I'm going to use the Impossible Burger, which is so good. I love it. And I got it really cheap, so it was on sale at my local Albertsons for $8.99, and I had a $7 digital coupon off of any meat. And this did count as meat, so I only paid $1.99, so it was fantastic. So I'm going to make some homemade Hamburger Helper. I got this recipe from Let's Cook Y'all. Now she used regular hamburger, but it's going to work just fine with this. And so the first thing I'm going to do is make a cheese sauce using some margarine and some flour in this pan. And then I will brown up the ground beef and add all the other ingredients to that. So these are the ingredients that you'll need. You'll need some kind of margarine or butter. Let me turn that down. Cheese, I'm using cheeseless cheese, and elbow macaroni, though you can use any kind of pasta. She uses beef broth, and I will leave a link to her video down below. Her channel is Let's Cook Y'all. So she uses beef broth. I'm just going to use water and flour to make the cheese sauce with, and ground meat of some kind, ketchup and onion powder, garlic powder, and chili powder, and I got to get my salt. And you will need milk also. This is a combination of almond milk and oat milk, but you could use dairy milk also. So I've gone ahead and put my butter in the pan, and I let it melt, and then I added flour. Now, Stacy from Let's Cook Y'all says you should use equal parts flour and equal parts butter, but I never measure nothing, so this isn't really equal, but it'll all work out. So after that cooks a little bit, I will add the milk and I will stir it, and it will be lumpy, but I'll keep stirring it and smoothing it out, and it'll be fine, and then I'll add the cheese. So I added my milk, and as you can see, it's pretty lumpy, but I'm going to keep stirring it, and it'll thicken up, and we'll work those lumps out. I'm going to use a fork, and I'll also use a whisk, and I'll just keep stirring until it thickens up, and it'll be fine. Another thing that I did was, after I put my milk in it, I put water in my milk container, because Mama says make sure you get all that milk out of there, otherwise you're just wasting good milk. And I'll need this to not thicken, it'll probably be really thick, so I'll need to thin it out a little bit. And then once it thickens more, I'll just add this so I get all my milk. So I'll show you that when we get there. I'm continually stirring it and working those lumps out. Now if you're smart, you'll do like Stacy says, and you will use equal parts, and it won't be all lumpy like this. But I'm not smart, so anyway, that's what I'm doing. So it's getting thicker, really nice and thick. So I'll add the rest of the water milk mixture and my cheese. Now we'll add our cheese. And in my case, I'm using cheeseless cheese, but you can use real cheese. Or you could do like Stacy says and just buy a can of the cheddar cheese Campbell soup, but that stuff is expensive and it's not vegan. And usually we already have all these ingredients on hand. We have flour, we have butter, and we have some kind of cheeseless cheese. So it's no extra cost at all to make our own cheese sauce. It's certainly a lot more economical. The last time I bought that cheddar cheese can of soup, it was like $2.79. So if you can make your own cheese sauce, you have all the ingredients, it's super cheap. Okay, the homemade cheese sauce is done, and it looks so good, and it smells good. It's really good. So now we're going to get started on the meat. We're going to get started cooking on the meatless meat. This Impossible meat cooks up really, really nicely. It is almost identical to ground beef. It smells like ground beef. It tastes like ground beef. It looks like ground beef when it's cooking up, so I really, really like this product a lot. But you could use regular ground beef or you can use ground turkey if you prefer. Okay, it's all cooked up nicely, and I'm going to add all the other ingredients. Now, in the olden days of couponing, we used to get Hamburger Helper mix free all the time, but it has been many, many years since I've able to score any really cheap Hamburger Helper mix, so that's another reason I'm just making my own, because I've got all the ingredients, and that's really cheap when you got all the ingredients. So we're going to add about a half a teaspoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, and salt to our meat mixture, and then we're going to add the water and the elbow macaroni and the cheese sauce. I put in about a cup of water and a cup to a cup and a half-ish of macaroni noodles. So now I will add the cheese sauce and squirt the ketchup in it. So you need about a half a cup of ketchup. I'm just going to squirt an eyeball. That's about a half a cup. We're going to stir it all together, bring it to a boil, and just let it simmer on the stove for about 15-20 minutes. And I will show you when it's all plated up. I decided I would turn it down to low and put a lid on it and just let it simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes. Also with it, we're having some Italian green beans and some canned corn. And I'm also going to make some crescent rolls. I'm not going to make them. I'm going to put them in the oven. Now, funny story about when my kids were little, they loved Hamburger Helper and Tuna Helper. And we got it, as I said before, we got it free and cheap with our coupons all the time. But then one day, my oldest daughter said she didn't want to eat meat anymore. She said, I don't like meat. So I said, okay, well, we're going to have this dinner, but it's called Macaroni Surprise. So it was the same thing. It was Hamburger Helper, but I started calling it Macaroni Surprise and told her there was no meat in it, even though there was meat. I just told her it was Macaroni Surprise. So, but she still loved it. She went back to loving it. So, yes, I will show it to you when it's all plated up. And here it is, Macaroni Surprise, all on the plate with the corn and the Italian green beans and the crescent roll. And I'm having heart healthy red wine. Darling husband's still working outside, so yeah, there it is, and I hope you like it.